that we were the fucking bollocks. Do you know what I mean? And when we got that record right, I just knew it, you know. But I didn't foresee, because it was going like that with Definitely Maybe, and then once Wonderwall came out, it went like that. I didn't see that at all. I expected to be in the biggest band in the world eventually, but I didn't expect it to happen within the first 3 years.
Pretty crazy, man. And when you actually look, because I was having a flick through the whole timeline and reading some of the lead material in the lead up to this interview, just to catch up and stuff. And you're looking through the history, right from, you know, being when you were born, right up to, you know, discovering music because your other activities were getting you in trouble. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what saves you. And all those things that basically you get two options in your life at that point, don't you? When you've got those circumstances, it's either go down the rabbit hole or find something to pull you out.
I just felt, and only in hindsight, at the time, you know, you don't think anything about having, you don't think anything that you can somehow, as if by magic, play the guitar, you know, because you're like 19 and you think, well, of course, you know, it's a natural thing to pick up and play it. In hindsight, you look back on it now and just think, I was just so lucky to even have an interest in a musical instrument, because if you'd see the kind of 15 or 20 lads I used to hang about with in Levenshulme in Manchester, you'd realise what a colossal achievement, even as a person, me and Liam have achieved, because the other lads, bless them, are all kind of, they don't do much, do you know what I mean?
Were you frowned upon? Because a lot of kids watch this, well, a few kids watch this show, and you know, I mean, a lot of them probably find themselves looking for things to inspire them and to get them out of an everyday predicament of being a bored-ass teenager. And a lot of cases, people frown upon it when you have any ambition, don't they? You know?
I'll tell you a true story, right? I used to stay in, I remember staying in constantly for a couple of years, playing the guitar, being obsessing about it, and my mum, bless her, saying, you know, you're kind of 19, you know, and you kind of sit in your bedroom all night with this guitar and you don't have a girlfriend. Is there anything you want to tell me? And I'm like, are you insinuating I'm gay, mother? You know, and she's going, well, yeah.
What, because I played an instrument?
Yeah. And our Liam thought I was weird. Fucking weirdo. You're up there with his guitar, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, my mum thought I was gay.
Bananas. But 19 is quite a late time to start picking up an instrument as well.
Well, there'd been a guitar in our house since when we were, I guess, early teenagers, but I'd never really taken much interest in it. Do you know what I mean? Because it was a big acoustic guitar. And
you want to rock at that age, don't you? You know, you're straight in there.
Well, I was into football at that age, and I thought rock stars came from Mars, like David Bowie and Mark Bolan and that, and you know, and you had to be. I didn't think until the Stone Roses came along and the Smiths that, hang on a minute, lads like us can actually be on top of the pops. So it was only with, I guess, New Order and the Smiths and then the Stone Roses and the Manchester thing starting that it was.
Well, it's in your backyard, isn't it? And all of a sudden it's more than achievable.
But up until that point, I thought all rock stars came from London.
Yeah, yeah. What was the first time like playing Top of the Pops? Do you remember what you did and what that was like?
It's Top of the Pops, man. I think that's when my mum started taking it seriously. And she said, right, we're on Top of the Pops tonight. And she's like, oh, right, you know, fair enough. But I think it's a shame that programme's gone now, because you know, there would always be this excitement. When Supersonic come out and we didn't get Top of the Pops because it went in at 31, we were devastated, because you know, it's Top of the Pops, and then the next time it come around and we got it, I just can't see kids being excited now, you know, phoning in bands for each other going, hey, we got a fucking transmission on Channel 4, you know, Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
I hope they bring it back soon.
Well, you know, there definitely is, there's something missing, I think, on a terrestrial level anyway, in terms
we got
of
Jules Holland, brilliant.
Yeah. And so it begins. Live Forever, man, voted by many magazines, and most famously and recently, I think it was it Q, as the best song of all time.
Yeah. Well, you can't argue with the public, can you?
When you wrote that, come on, man, did you know? Did you know in your heart of hearts?
Yeah.
That was the one?
Yeah.
And you wrote it when you were working in a factory, is that right? One of the early ones?
I know I was on the dole when I wrote that. That was one of the later ones of Definitely Maybe. That's when I knew, after I'd finished that song, my songwriting changed. It went from kind of being out and out rock music, like Bring It On Down and Supersonic. No, not Supersonic. It went kind of another way then, you know.
Classic.
What I mean? Yeah. And I remember Live Forever was a massive turning point in terms of songwriting, because before that we were kind of a bit scruffy and a bit, but good. But Live Forever was an undeniably great tune.
Oh man, and it still is.
And even when it came out, like when Supersonic come out, and you know, if you weren't British, you wouldn't know what the big issue was, or gin and tonics, and there's kind of like British imagery in the lyrics. And the same with Shaker Maker, it's about an old 70s toy. But Live Forever announced us to the world, really. And the sentiments in that song mean as much to the people in Brooklyn as they do in Burnage. But that whole thing came out of the old sentiment of the song. I remember at the time writing it, and In Utero just come out, and Nirvana had a tune called I Hate Myself When I Want to Die. And I was like, I'm not fucking having that. I am not having
But come
that.
on, the irony kind of been lost on you on that
Well,
song.
I don't do irony. It's like, I'm not having that guy. He's got everything that I want. He's got a big house. He's in the biggest band in the world.
Yeah.
He's fucking critically acclaimed. Fuck Courtney Love, he can have her, right? But he's got all the money in the world. He's on smack, and he wants to die.
Yeah.
Well, that just fucking won't do.
Right.
That will not do.
Live forever.
It's fucking. We're gonna live forever, mate. What's up with you?
And it changed everything, man. It changed everything, and I think it's a big part of why you went into the studio and started making What's the Story, Morning Glory, like you say, with an established audience in place, but one that. Fucking hell, man. I mean, talk about upping the ante. When that album came out, it was all over, wasn't it? In terms of sanity, in terms of, privacy, in terms of everything, and everything that you wished for. Now, again, this is a time when a lot of bands tend to bitch and complain about it because they're like, wait a minute, I miss my old life, but you embraced it.
No, it's what I wouldn't say I was born to do it, but, I wanted the Learjet and Bubbles, the fucking monkey, and the Rolls Royce. And the drug habit and the fur coat, and I wanted all. That's all. I wanted all that. There's like some, yourself. Some bands when they see success coming over the horizon, they get like rabbits in the headlights and think, am I worthy of this? Is it gonna fuck me up? I mean, what about my girlfriend or what about? We were just like, asked. I'll gladly go into a mental asylum for the sake of rock and roll.
How long did that last for? How long was that period where you got the monkey and the fur coat and the brown Rolls Royce?
95, 96, 97, 98. For me, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 and a bit years. Was insane.
Yeah.
And then
they say that those kind of years can be a blur. Is that a cliche? Is that an exaggeration, or is it true?
Luckily for us, Oasis were not shy in coming forward, so everything is well documented what we've done. I don't remember the finer details, but I remember like the big things that about like the big gigs and the mad outrageous statements at fucking parties. They're all on drugs, all of them. The Pope, he's a fucking smackhead, he knows it. All that kind of. I remember all that. But they were brilliant times because the whole thing was kind of running. The whole Morning Glory thing, it was running away with itself. There was almost like 1 million albums every 6 months or something. And you were just holding on, but we weren't scared of it. It was brilliant, I want a bigger house, I want a bigger car, I want bigger shades. Come on, man.
You couldn't have got bigger gigs.
No.
And Nebworth was like...
No.
And I mean, is it true that at one point you sort of, I don't know when it was during those gigs, when you sort of took a look at the crowd or took a look at, maybe you're on stage, maybe you're side of stage, and thought, we might have actually have a shot here because where do you go?
Well, yeah, I remember afterwards, a pal of mine who's a manager, he was, I think, managing some band at the time, he kind of said, kind of flippantly, so what are you going to do now?
Yeah.
Where'd you go now? And it didn't in a kind of, after gig euphoria, it's like, we're going to fucking do it next year, we're doing 9 nights next year. But then kind of thinking, well, what are we going to do now? Do you know what I mean? You can't, we've played